Excited. Let's hope it works. Good evening, rockers. This is On the Rocks Total Entertainment with the Vegas Rock Goddess. I'm already on. Tonight, we have an amazing band from Pensacola, Florida. Pardon the Scars will be joining me shortly. So let's get this party started. Just waiting for the band. How's everybody doing tonight? We are live from Las Vegas tonight. So this is going to be an excellent evening to get to know this band. The Florida area has really been getting a lot of great bands through the South. Another great band too that I've been following is Flaming the Red, another great band from the southeast part of the country. Super cool. They will be a future guest on the Rocks. So I'm so looking forward. I hate delays, so bear with me. The first show is always the roughest one. But anyway, we'll get through this together. Thanks for tuning in. A future guest on the show will be Jeffrey Carlson. We're going to have Peter Cat from Playhouse. We're just waiting for the band to zoom in. I hate technical difficulties. Well, that's what happens when you do everything live and uncensored. So you guys are rolling along right with me. Well, I just got knocked off. Okay, here we go. The band is here. So let's get everybody in. All right. How's everybody doing here? We're trying to get everybody in.
Yeah.
Start video. Okay. We got to turn your mics on though. So make sure your mics are on.
Yeah, James, make sure your mic's on, and Brian's good. All right.
Good to go.
Okay,
Yeah.
you're all good to go. Fantastic. Okay. So we are live on YouTube. So how are you guys doing? Welcome.
We're doing good. Thank
Doing
you for
great.
having us.
Okay, very cool. Let's get started. Let's talk a little bit about how this band got started. I know I've read a few things about you guys. You're from Pensacola, Florida area. How is the pandemic affected your band? Because I did read a little bit of the bio on it. So he's laughing. I mean, believe me, this isn't anything that I haven't heard from multiple bands, but I think it's important that the viewers really understand what the struggles have been during that time. So whoever wants to start.
Yeah. I guess so. How we got started. We had another name. We were going by another name, and we got a new bass player, Steven, who's actually not here tonight, but we got a new bass player and a new guitar player in Brian, and the contributions to the songwriting was a lot heavier, and it seemed like a decent steer in a kind of a new direction. So rebranding kind of felt like a good idea as sort of a new, come out as a new band.
Right.
And, we dropped that name and started with Pardon the Scars, and that was less than a year before the pandemic hit.
Okay.
So we just kind of hit the ground running we had a lot of shows booked. Everybody had shows booked when everything started shutting down. It was just sort of
it was horrible.
Yeah. First one canceled, then the second one canceled. It was kind of weird, and and then it made sense to. I mean, when the brakes halted and the sky fell down, that was right. We had some songs that we were ready to come out with. Like new recordings, like and we had a video shoot that we had booked in New Orleans, and just a few hours from us. But I mean, at that time, New Orleans was one of the real big hotbeds of the kind of one of the scariest places to be, because of the close, just because it's a big city. Big cities were sort of the hotbeds. So we ended up doing a lyric video because we wanted to put something out, because bands were doing what we could virtually, right. Doing lives, doing rehearsal, just streaming rehearsals, trying to just kind of still be out there. Hey, we're out. But even getting together as a band was scary, right. For a bit. So we were doing a lot of online or just messenger chat and videos of us playing guitar riffs, and we message them to each other. It was kind of like being in a long distance relationship across town.
Right. Yeah, it's funny that you mentioned that, because when I was co-host to Keep Rock Alive during pandemic, I was interviewing bands such as yourself, and you totally just described about every band that I talked to and interviewed. They were all in the same boat. I mean, literally textbook. I mean, you guys were writing, you were working on new material, doing like lyric videos, just to keep the momentum going.
Right. Yeah. We have practice rehearsals with us in our big, luckily I have a pretty decent sized garage. So we're all like,
Right.
he'll be with the drums in the corner, he'll be in a corner, he'll be in a corner, and I'll be in a corner. We'll all wear our masks, because my fiance, has had some health issues and was kind of like, they said only the elderly are sick. Well, there we are. So, it was kind of a scary situation for that. And, but we were like, I remember it was cold. We're all in jackets and masks. we're fleshing out this song that actually was Purge. There's actually videos of us playing Purge with our masks on.
Awesome.
That we just released.
Awesome tune.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
Thank you.
Like trying to figure out the harmonic on the guitar lines. I have videos of us like working out the scales. Like, no, that's a little, like all that stuff. So it's pretty cool to look back on.
But you know what? As a band,
surreal.
When you guys were going through this, it made you stronger. It made you more driven, right? Am I right?
Yeah, at first, well, actually, I'll let somebody else talk because I'll keep going.
Ryan, what about you? Like, what's your take on this?
We got two Brians. I'll just take this one.
Okay, you'll take this one because that's fine. We'll get to you, Brian. Don't worry.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely, kind of put forth the, like it really showed our commitment to, the different projects we had going on, like songs for, and, we were working on it for a long time. And things like, the pandemic, really made us, commit to our faith in the project and how much we wanted to finish this song up, and just kind of how good we knew it was. And so, things like, having mask practices or even just kind of putting practices, aside certain days, for health reasons, was, kind of a testament, I think, to how much faith we had in what we were doing. Because, man, all four of us have a lot of, faith is probably the best word, I think, in together these songs, and especially one, like Purge, just the message that it has to kind of bring out to the audience.
It's so awesome, the message that once you have to listen to it a couple of times to really absorb what it truly means.
I'm glad you feel that way. Like even me listening to it, I feel like I kind of gain something new from it almost every time I listen to it.
Right.
It's, like James wrote the lyrics to that, and it's really powerful for, stuff I've gone through, stuff where I think most people have gone through. And it feels like it's one of those songs that most people can kind of like, they can jam to the music, they can understand the lyrics, and feel it in their own way, and so even though it took us way longer than we probably wanted it to,
everything took us a lot longer than we wanted it to because of a lot of those reasons, but
right,
but I think we still, we get it out there, we get the message across, and pandemic or not, we made it happen. That's
right.
Kind of shows a testament, at least to what we want to do, for
the
music community.
And it was really super interesting because you guys were on TikTok, and I'm watching your stuff. I'm like, man, these guys are great, man. I had to get in contact with you because you guys had a great backstory.
Well,
And
yeah,
it's
yeah, I
just,
appreciate that. Yeah.
yeah, it's just
thank you.
super
TikTok's been fun.
interesting. Yeah, TikTok is great. As you all know, at least for me, I have all my live videos on there that I do. And it's a pleasure to share that with the world.
Yeah, we've got a couple ideas that
Thank
we want to start doing with TikTok, but coming up with content, it's difficult because one of the things that at the beginning of the pandemic, we all kind of took a break. And as tough of a decision that was, it all gave us like a breath of fresh air. For the better part of a year, we weren't working on much together. We just sort of pumped the brakes and kind of, focused on life, family, this whole new weird dystopian situation happening. And so that's like, that's what all the hell that everything meant. And then when we came back, it was fun because it was scary. It was like, dude, we haven't played together in a minute.
Right.
And then it was
Yeah.
it was just like done, easy.
Yeah, it was like a reboot,
right.
I think, for everybody.
And
in
well, a
the
lot of bands were
industry.
working really, really hard, and it shows the bands that came out swinging because they, had been compiling or whatever. We took the better part of it off, or at least I did, to sort of, what else could we do? But
Right.
also just to sort of take a big, deep breath with work and with home life and with everything. I have kids at home, all that stuff. So
Right, of course.
taking care of family and just sort of
Family
making sure we're
first.
all right. And then.
Yeah.
But once we came back, it was a fresh perspective that gave me this new drive, because it was like, oh my God, not only was the playing field leveled a little bit, you know what I mean? But the way that the crowds have come back with a renewed vigor for live music, it was different than it was before. That's, the demand maybe not had quelled, but there was just sort of the panhandles. I don't know if the Panhandle is
Right.
notorious for either it's going to be great or it's going to be, crickets.
Right.
You never really know. But so, since the everything has opened back up in the last year, the crowds have been fantastic. The energy from the crowds has been fantastic. So, that new fresh sense of perspective from like taking that little break and coming back, it was like, we've got a product here, we've got something, and it's exciting for us. And we, all the ideas that we had been individually thinking about, we sat there for weeks and months and put them all together and built a light show, built all this stuff. And like, well, here's what I was thinking. All right, check this out. So we came in with like all our toys and all of our, ideas.
Right.
And so what we've got coming after Purge is just, we're even more
Okay,
excited
yeah,
about.
we're gonna talk
there's
about
so much
that.
stuff.
Let's save that, James. Okay.
Right, but yeah,
We're gonna
but
talk
all these
about it.
ideas, all these things
Yeah.
started happening, and it was like kind of like just I don't know, it was a very, very exciting time putting together the older songs. What we kind of have done is sort of strip down everything we had and really just dig apart the songs, each individual member having contributions. The bassist can hey, that drum part, the drummer like that guitar part, there's nobody's just like, this is my thing,
Right.
And optimizing the songs or trying our best for all of us to sign off on everything before it gets recorded or in the recording process. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but we're gonna talk about all your new stuff, but I want to talk to Brian, number 2. The drum guy.
Yeah.
What's up, Brian?
What's happening, dude? Like,
So yeah, talk to me. We talked to your other 2 bandmates. I want to get your take on how pandemic affected you as an artist with this band.
So interestingly enough, when we did take a break at the very beginning of the pandemic, we didn't know the severity of the pandemic. We thought, okay, it's going to be a couple weeks and then it's going to be over and we'll be back to like we're taking a month off, whatever. And in that time, each one of us, we were dealing with, family stuff, home life. And I feel like, at least for me, I think with the other Brian, which we call Brain, and Steven, who we call Thor, which that's different.
And it's because Brian, the drummer, is spelled with a Y, and Brian, the guitarist, is spelled with an I.
Okay.
So naturally, he's Brain.
Naturally, that makes sense. Okay.
Right.
But
It's differentiated.
yeah. And so with each one of us dealing with our own like personal stuff during the pandemic, especially at the beginning, I feel like at any time that we had free time, we used that to somewhat work some kind of new material, something that was new, that was fresh to us from a different perspective, or we were digging through the stuff that we had at the time, kind of like, you know, clawing away at some of the stuff, stripping some of it away, or
Like
pulling.
this part doesn't work and I can't figure out why, but it's always been nagging at me, like that kind of stuff.
And I remember when we got back together and did our social distance practices in James's garage, you know, we're each 6 feet apart. So it's like we're screaming across the garage at each other. But we were also like, hey, in this part, what if we tried to do this? Or hey, in this, and we were all coming at it with different perspectives. And the coolest thing about this is that we're all musicians. You know, Brain, he plays guitar, yeah, but he also has drum knowledge. Thor, he plays bass, but he also has guitar knowledge. James plays like a little bit of everything, dude. Me, I play, you know, guitar and piano and all of that stuff as well. So each one of us had different perspectives. So in the band, the coolest thing about it is that everything's kind of free game. And we want to make sure that everybody's voice on a certain part is heard, or at least tried. Like there are parts where I've suggested, hey, try this, and they'll try it and they'll be like, nah, it doesn't work. I'll be like, you're right, it doesn't work. Or Steven, he'll suggest something and we'll try it. And we're like, all right, well, that sounds actually pretty dope. In fact, I think that's actually how Ridge and Purge what came about. I think that whole like we go into this slow part in the song, and we brought that mood down and really like just let the bass hammer away with the drums. Guitars completely dropped out.
Yeah, it wasn't originally like that. It was all mellow.
Yeah,
we didn't have that driving bass line, and I think
And when we came up with that, you know, Steven had this bass line, and when I heard it, I was like, all right, cool. I'm going to do something completely different from what I've done, because a lot of my influences come from like Rush and Tool and Foo Fighters and all that. And so my idea was like, all right, I'm going to pull in some Police. I'm going to pull in like Stuart Copeland and throw in like this drum, just bass driving hi-hat thing, no backbeat. And that section became massive, and it was really cool like seeing all of those different pieces be put together in such a short amount of time. And then of course over time, as the pandemic went on, working all of that stuff and with other songs, it was just really a really cool experience, man. And I feel like most bands should actually look at other people's instruments and start saying, hey, you know what if you tried this, trying to be open to
democracy.
And consider it. I don't consider it constructive criticism. It's a constructive opinion.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, like the song is the star. That's kind of how we try to approach it. The song is the star. Nobody, you know, if we got to figure out what's right for the song. And
well, yeah, it's like when you write a song, it's like your baby, and you release it to the world.
Yeah, you're not wrong. You know, and one good thing about having, you know, musicians who have, you know, multiple experiences, multiple skills, you know, is it's not just, you know, I'm the guitar player, James is the guitar player, Brian's the drum. Like we all can, you know, speak to other parts of the song, you know. So really, it's us.
It's really honestly, it's just a bunch of us in the garage going, you know, like a chicka 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 chicka, you know, that part, the chicka chicka.
That's so painfully true.
When we're all like, yeah.
Right.
Not even lying, that literally happened at our it was, hey, can you do this? And I was like, oh, I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah,
hey, a lot, hey,
drum
wait
parts,
a second. A lot of hit songs have been made like that.
Honestly, we should just use that as the vocals. I keep hammering myself in the head for lyric ideas, and I'm doing it right there.
Right?
There's some Jonathan Davis in there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think
just do that boom checka bugga boom, you know, part.
That's crazy. But anyway, but I think, you know, what the good thing that came out of this pandemic, I think musicians that I talked to during the pandemic actually were home. It was
Yeah.
like some of them, it was the first time they were actually home with their families
Yeah.
or
Yeah,
just being zen with themselves and chilling and getting into themselves again.
Having no choice but to be present with yourself,
Right.
Mhm.
And
not
I
just on
think
the
that
run.
collectively, creatively, I think it brought out a lot because I'm a writer, and it definitely helped me. Just, I mean, it was going nuts. I was getting ideas from, like, my mind was like totally clear.
Right, exactly. Yeah, you're just breathing fresh air, and that's it for
Right.
2 years.
It's a
From what
full
was gonna be a few
vacation
weeks
at
to
certain
2
points,
years.
Yeah, exactly. Well, let's talk a little bit about what your influences are. James, let's start with you. Like, what are your musical influences?
I'm one of those people that for a while was frustrating, and I just say I listen to everything, but I listen to literally everything. I remember when I was a kid, my dad was in the army. We lived in Germany, and on the weekends we would go castle hopping, and we would drive to any castle within 4 or 5 hours away from the base that we lived in. And during the drive, we would listen to Rick Dees in the Weekly Top 40, Casey Kasem, and in the 90s and early 90s era, radio was kind of exciting. It was a you had every single genre being played on the radio, on the hit. When they played the top 40, it was everything from Nirvana, Bush, No Doubt, Spice Girls. So you had and then you had rap, Dr. Dre and Eminem, and Britney Spears and Backstreet Boys and NSYNC, and then Nickelback and Matchbox, probably pre-Nickelback, but like Matchbox 20. It was like all this stuff.
It was
going on.
really in rock. That was a very
and not just rock,
unusual
but
time.
but especially
But I'm
in
just
rock.
saying, in music in general,
Yeah.
it was definitely an unusual time because, again, like you were saying, a lot of different genres were coming together.
We're making the top 40 together.
Yeah, for the first time, I think.
Exactly. It wasn't just, or the top 100 even, like,
right.
I just remember it being like a different, you listen to the radio and it was a different genre every other song that was playing.
Right.
It was, and my parents listened to the radio. Again, I'm young, I'm 9, 10, like I wasn't controlling the radio. And
right.
So I grew up listening to stuff like that, and then I found my way into heavier music and, like In Flames and, oh gosh, so much. Machine Head. Machine Head's definitely one of my big influences. But songwriting like Smashing Pumpkins, Alice in Chains.
Right.
Oh my gosh, 10 Years. Coheed and Cambria.
Wow, you're really
Korn,
going
Alter
back,
Bridge.
bro.
Oh, Mark Tremonti's like my guitar god.
Yeah, Tremonti, man.
James, you you want to say Fair to Midland, James.
Oh yes. Oh yes. If we can just please take a moment, dedicate this whole entire interview to Fair to Midland, and may they ever get back together.
Because if you're not going to say it, I'm going to say it.
But here, I'll give you guys a background with me. What influences me I play heavy metal when I write. Okay. There's not too many writers that
nothing to clear your mind like some heavy metal. Yeah.
Exactly. And we're talking like everything from, suicide to, to, you know what I mean? Metallica.
Right. I remember
but-
I got into Metallica because I was a Motley Crue. Okay, Motley Crue was my first favorite band. I was
there you go.
4, and I heard Too Young to Fall in Love or something like that, and I was like, yo. And so like my first cassette tape was Dr. Feelgood. My first cassette tape that I bought with my little yard mowing money.
That's great.
That's showing my age. It's a cassette tape.
Oh yes, no. Okay, we'll talk about that in a second. Now, what influenced me was Styx, Cheap Trick. Okay.
All right.
All the Chicago bands.
Yeah.
Disturbed is an amazing Chicago band. A lot of people
Smashing Pumpkins and Chevelle. Smashing Pumpkins and Chevelle are both.
A lot
Chicago
of people don't know that Disturbed is from Chicago. I got
to tell you something. Chicago radio, they play Chicago bands. Like they'll be playing everything that you hear on every rock station, but you're gonna hear Chevelle. You're gonna hear you're gonna hear it was crazy. It was like, dude, these are awesome songs. So
I
Smashing
know.
Pumpkins. They were playing stuff
Exactly.
off of Siamese Dream on the radio. I'm like, what? Yeah,
But see,
on like the
like,
Mondays.
those decades for me,
Celebrate those.
like
bands.
I started getting into harder stuff like Back in Black. That was like my first AC/DC album. I didn't like the previous AC/DC. I started getting into, I know it's weird, but I'm a big fan of Brian Johnson. I
Yeah.
just love his voice. And, music influences everybody in different ways. So what was your first concert you ever went to, James?
Whitney Houston.
Really?
Yeah, oddly enough, she was
Really?
playing a USO event. She was playing on our base, and we went to
Wow.
the place, and she put on a show. And I remember she stopped in the middle of the song to like tell off a heckler. That's all I really remember. But it was during her. But this was Whitney Houston during her heyday. It was when her and Mariah were like both #1 at the same time. It was
Right.
Bodyguard era. It was pretty. It was a huge
That's
stadium
probably the
experience.
biggest
Like
time
it
in my
wasn't.
life.
I mean, it was a huge, like a stadium show. It was a
Right.
big deal. Yeah.
That's crazy. My first show was Cheap Trick.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I would have loved to see that.
Where Rick Nielsen brought out all his like guitars. I
Crazy
think
guitars.
I lost count at like 40. I mean,
Wow.
this guy brings out all his guitars for like all the songs.
Each song is a different
great.
guitar, like a
Yeah.
wardrobe change.
I mean, those are the things that I remember.
Yeah.
Growing up in Chicago, I've lived in Vegas right here for 18 years. And
Wow.
this is the first year I've seen over 100 shows.
Wow.
This is the first time in decades that I've seen this many shows in Vegas.
Oh yeah, like it's going crazy. Like the circuit, everybody's out, everybody's doing it.
Yeah, we got to get you out to Vegas.
Yes, let's make that happen.
Yes.
Right.
Yes, we should.
Brian, number 2, what was your first concert?
All right, so this is going to be really wild. So in Pensacola, we had this festival in the spring called Springfest. And I think it was 96 or 97. My parents took me to see this band that they had heard on the radio. And we're sitting in front of the stage. And this dude comes up on the stage. I didn't know who the hell he was. And he's got this freaking flak jacket of harmonicas. And it's Blues Traveler. It's Blues Traveler.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Like,
That's what I was gonna say.
Monica, that's wild. And then immediately after his set, Hootie and the Blowfish came out and played. And I was like,
I
okay,
love them.
That was my first concert ever was Blues Traveler and Hootie and the Blowfish at Springfest in Pensacola. I was like,
Wow.
and like I didn't know who they were, but now I'm like
Yeah.
Yeah, man. 2 great bands, man.
That was when
Yeah.
the songwriters were king. That was that songwriter era.
that was like
Everything.
just gotten famous. Like that's when they first got on the radio. So I was
Right.
like,
Yeah.
But let me tell you something. Darius Rucker is one of the most prolific songwriters in the business.
oh
Yeah,
yeah,
there
this
was,
dude
He
can
well,
write.
if you remember,
He's awesome.
there wasn't a lot of flashy
He's
riffs
awesome.
in that era with bands like Blues Traveler and Hootie and the Blowfish. And like, you had like Live and other bands in that same time. It was all about songwriting. There wasn't flashy
Right.
riffs or anything. They were about like storytelling and all that stuff. It was like that folk era of the 70s, but reimagined. The Wallflowers, like it was all around that
Oh,
same exact
yeah.
time. You remember, it was all songwriting.
Let me put
It
it-
was interesting. It was an interesting time.
Brian, what was your first concert?
Mine was a band called the Classic Rock All Stars, which is like it was a combination. It was the bassist from Cannibal and Headhunters, the drummer from Rare Earth, the keyboardist from Sugarloaf, and Frankie Valli, and the guitar player from Iron Butterfly. So they just did like this
Wow.
whole it was amazing, and I got autographs from all of them. So now I'm super psyched about all those autographs. At the time, I was like, I don't know who you guys are. That's cool. Why not? So, but they put this great show and played all their hits from like each individual band. So it was like kind of a weird
Yeah.
compilation concert, of all these
Those are the
bands
best
from the
ones.
70s. What's that?
Those are the best ones, man.
Oh, I mean, they played like Get Ready and Inagata Devita, it was amazing. And I know
Wow.
that now. When I was like 7, when I saw it, I was like, cool, this is fun, but now I'm just like, holy crap, I saw that stuff.
I know. Now
Um,
you kind of want to go back at your age and just
And just
see it
just
again.
rewatch it. Yeah.
I would lose my mind if I could see it now. I would say my first like concert that I really experienced was I went to Ozfest in 2004, and
I was there.
my parents actually chaperoned. Go ahead.
No, I was there at that 2004 Ozfest.
Were you?
Yeah,
Right.
that was in Chicago though.
Okay, I was in San Diego, so same thing but different,
Right.
I guess. Like the funniest thing was like my parents now are metalheads because of that show, because like they saw, like it was Ozzy Osbourne.
I
and
love it,
think,
man. That's
oh
great.
yeah, and like Lacuna Coil.
Yeah, they come to
was
shows
there,
and they're like the cutest, but they're into it. Yeah, it's really cool.
That's
Yeah.
great.
and like they are also now Metallica fans because of me, because like my big influential band on me was Metallica. That's what switched me from the big top 40 like Backstreet Boys and NSYNC to rock. Like that was Metallica and Korn, those two right there.
Wow.
And now they're both fans of those bands, so yeah, they took me to Ozfest and had a great time, and I went over and did my thing while they were just kind of sitting on the lawn and stuff. But yeah, that would have been my first two big ones that kind of introduced me to the genre that we play now.
That's really super cool though. I love that.
Yeah.
That's a great
Yeah,
story.
but yeah, so mine was Whitney Houston, and that's kind of not really in keeping with the rock stuff. But the first,
No, but you know what? Still, Whitney Houston put a
rockstar.
stamp.
oh no, she put on a show. It was
on
it was an
music.
epic big, yeah. And it was when she was Max Diva, top of the
Right.
world kind of thing. It was super cool show. And I was like 8. You know what I mean? Like 8 or 9 or something, or maybe 10.
Right.
I can't remember. My remembering time is terrible. But yeah, my first big show that I saw was the Trans-Siberian Orchestra. That was what I saw. The first
Oh,
rock show that I
yeah.
saw was like, oh my God, that kind of thing. Like, I want to do that. That's what I want to do.
Right, because I
And
know
the 91 Binge and Purge Metallica videos, the 91 tour, the San Diego show, like watching that as an 11-year-old kid with a guitar in his hand. Like, yeah, I didn't get to be there, but I watched those videos religiously and, studied
what's that
Jason.
guitar, James, on the behind you?
Oh, this is a solar. I don't know if you say it, but it's pretty sweet.
Oh, love it. So cool.
It's the studio guitar. I have another one so similar to it that's black that we use on the road, but this is the one that
Okay.
is typically up in the studio because it won't be nice anymore if I take it on the road.
Well, yeah, we know that for sure. What about you, Brian? Like, do you strictly play drums? I know you said you play other instruments too.
So my first instrument is drums. I started that when I was, I think, like 7 or 8. And I went to a Catholic school, and our band actually started in the 4th grade. And I was the only kid that played the snare drum. It was me and one other kid out of a 350 student school. And I started there, and I didn't get my first drum set until the 7th grade. And then I basically played drums primarily all the way up until about 2000 and 2011. And then I bought a bass guitar off of one of my friends because she had played in high school and decided she didn't want to do it anymore. So I bought a bass guitar and tried to learn off of that. And then I got a job at a music store, and I was forced to learn how to play guitar because that's what they primarily sold. So I spent a good 5 or 6 years playing bass and guitar and mandolin and ukulele. And now with my current job, I work at a music school, which of all things,
very
pretty
cool.
So I get to teach kids how to play drums, but I was forced to learn piano because that's where our primary lessons come from. So now I know how to do drums, bass, guitar. I can do mandolin, ukulele. I can do piano. I can play a mean kazoo. We've been joking about
wow.
one for the
He is
band,
a beautiful singer as well.
and I do a lot
He
of karaoke.
is.
I,
He is.
I got some pipes. I can do one of my karaoke songs is oddly enough "Take on Me" by Aha, and I hit those, and then I switch it up by singing "The Pot" by Tool, and I can hold out that whole scream at the end.
Oh man.
Yeah, and then I'll switch that up and do like Metallica or Duality by Slipknot, and I do all of that stuff.
It's crazy. It's so great that you're giving back to the kids. I think that's absolutely amazing.
I can't tell you how many kids have come to me because, like, we're in the South. It's a very, very Bible belty area, which is fine.
Right.
But a lot of those kids come in and they're like, I want to learn drums to play at church. And like, there's one kid that I teach. He's probably like 11 or 12. Actually, no, he's 13 now. He came in and he wanted to learn a bunch of like, Casting Crowns and stuff like that. A lot of the Christian bands. And I played Everlong for a recital with another student, and he was like, "What's that song?" And I was like, "It's the Foo Fighters. It's called Everlong." And he got hooked. And then he was like, Can you teach me how to play All My Life by the Foo Fighters?" And then he was just a complete Foo Fighters fan. And then I was like, "Yeah, that's good." I was like, and then I showed him
Definitely, yeah, that's some like advanced drumming.
Smashing Pumpkins, and that's actually going to be his recital piece into
song?
Cherub Rock.
Wow.
Yeah, and I have to play.
Great.
I have to guitar and sing that song while he plays the drums on it. So that's.
You want a cameo? That was like, I will come play that song with y'all. That'd be so cool.
Oh, that would be dope. You guys
So
have
will
to
I.
film
Like,
that.
why not?
Yeah, and so, but it's really cool watching like this new generation because like when I started there weren't many drum students at all. Now, like about a fourth of our roster of about 350 students are all drum students, and they're learning everything from like. I've got a student that can play Sultans of Swing by Dire Straits, which is
That's
insane.
a great song.
I got another student that learned how to play Pull Me Under by Dream Theater. I got another student that's like working on Undone, the sweater song by Weezer. I've got all these students, and they're all like learning different varieties of rock. And we also teach blues and funk and all of that stuff. And then, of course, classical music as well. So it's really cool seeing like the melting pot of the next generation really like enthusiastic to not just learn music, but to be able to apply it and be creative with it.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's great to give back. I mean, James, what job do you have other than rock and roll?
I have my own kind of business in real estate. I do transaction coordinating, which is sort of like all the background operations in a real estate deal.
Okay.
So the realtor has less of that stuff to focus on, so they can focus on the clients, and I do that for like a set rate. And I have a
that's
bunch
awesome.
of realtors a handful of realtors that I work for. We work together. So yeah,
That's great.
so it's
And what
remote,
about-
just from home, just PDFs and emails.
all that stuff.
Yeah.
Brian, number one. What about you? What do you do other than rock and roll?
I'm in school right now. I'm going to college.
Oh, okay, very good.
I'll be doing mechanical engineering in January, and currently biology. I'm gonna put those together. So, but otherwise, I work at a pharmacy. In the meantime.
Oh, very
So,
cool. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I think rock and roll, we've all have jobs that lets us do what we love.
Yeah. You kind of have to have a job that lets you do what you love. Like,
Yeah.
it was a while I was working on aircraft, and it was a union job, great benefits and all that stuff. But it was, and I would love working on airplanes. That's like my second calling.
Right.
Working, I love fixing aircraft, but I'm not doing that at the moment. But if you didn't have vacation time saved up, you weren't going anywhere. So there's no tours, there's no, none of that.
This is going to change for you guys because I really see some great things happening in 23 for you. Is there any like future plans for a full record?
Honestly, not right now. I mean, I don't know if we're gonna see about some moves as far as, you know, hitting the ground running on some shows, getting the
Right.
word out, as they say, playing, you know, anywhere that we can get,
Right.
you know, let's say a 200-mile radius, hit that several times, and then make it 350-mile radius, you know, that kind of stuff. But
Right.
we
But
really want to
that's
get it
great,
out there
though.
and check the response, or not check the response, but, you know, get out there and play in front of people. And we're releasing singles right now because of just the content driven market. I mean, if we blow, you know, at our level, it wouldn't make sense to drop an album. But
Right.
you know, given the right temperature in the water, we would love to have a challenge
Right.
or
But you
the
know,
opportunity to
that's
do something
what
like that.
bands are doing, is they're dropping singles instead of doing full records.
Well, because you're able to have a timeline of content instead of just
Right.
through 2 years in between an album, and then, you know.
Yeah. And you keep everybody happy and you keep them interested.
Right. And it's still, you're still releasing an album, you're just kind of staggering it, which is, I think it's a good model for, I mean, look at what we have to absorb music with all the
Right.
streamers and all
And
that stuff.
yeah,
It's
exactly.
it's
You
a
know,
single driven market.
yeah. Especially like Spotify, TikTok. I mean, you guys are on TikTok constantly. That's great, because that's going to keep the people interested in what you
Right.
guys are doing. I'm always like,
We're looking
where are you?
forward to doing some fun stuff on TikTok. We're looking forward to doing some
Yeah.
just us in the cars and at gas stations goofing off.
Yeah, and that's
We got
what,
some ideas.
right.
Yeah.
That's what your fans want to see. They want to see
and
the
like
real
all of our
you.
star stage gear and how we run it, like a quick, like
Right.
30-second video of like, here's our stage gear and blah, blah, blah. And like,
Yep,
and if
you
anyone
hit
has
it
a
right
question
on the
about,
head.
if anyone has a question about a specific, you know, component, then we can make another video following up that
Right.
question. Make it like it's somewhat informative, but stupid, because three of us are prior military. So it's
Right.
going to have that sense of humor.
Yeah, I'm the
Which
only
could be
person.
dangerous. We'll see.
That's great though. Here, let's we'll do a little trivia here. We got like 10 minutes. Okay. I'm trying to think of something off the top of my head. You know how that works. You're like, oh, I'm thinking of something,
Oh, boy.
but like it's just being a writer. You're like, you know, thinking of okay, so we talked about first records. We talked about first shows. What about like movies? Do you guys like rock documentaries? Like, what's your favorite like movie?
Oh man,
Final Tap.
Oh, yeah.
Airheads.
Yes.
Yeah, man.
Good one.
If we're talking about rock movies, I have two favorites. I have favorites, and there's a specific reason for it. Number one is The Wall. The Wall is absolute freaking classic, and that's because of my dad. It's my favorite. That's my dad's favorite band. The second one is School of Rock, and it's specifically because of Jack Black. His whole, not just his acting, but his whole, like, how he pitched it, how he pushed for it. Everything about that man is gold. I really want to meet Jack Black, shake his hand.
Have you seen the Pick of Destiny?
Oh yeah,
Oh,
classic.
Great movie,
amazing.
man.
Amazing.
UHF. No, I'm just kidding.
Hey,
UHF.
UHF is a masterpiece.
Yeah.
I don't care what you say.
Okay, mine, Rockstar.
Rockstar. Which yeah, Miles Kennedy from Alter Bridge is actually in that movie.
Right.
true.
Can you believe
Yeah.
it? He played the guy that went
That
on
took
stage.
Mark Wahlberg's place. Yeah, Mark
I'm like,
Wahlberg.
what?
Mark Wahlberg.
I didn't even
And now, if-
realize Miles Kennedy was that young. I'm like,
And I-
holy moly.
Yeah, was that
I will say,
pre-Mayfield
like,
Ford?
Rockstar,
Mayfield
like-
Ford?
what?
Never mind. I was thinking out
Sorry.
loud.
Sorry. Like, I will actually say, like, Rockstar, I think I watched that when I was like 9 or 10 years old. And I had just started playing music, you know, like just getting into like piano and percussion and stuff. I
Right.
didn't pick up guitar yet. But like, that had a huge impact on me of just like showing me like I want that, you know, just that musical freedom and like the being able to put that in front of a crowd and stuff. Like,
Oh,
I don't, you know,
Yeah.
until fairly recently, like in the last couple of years, Rockstar had a huge impact on me. You know, like that movie just was like some guy from like some regular guy becoming some huge star, you know,
Yeah.
and then giving it to Miles Kennedy.
Oh, of course.
But yeah,
It-
but
it
that,
was-
yeah, the Metallica box set, the live shit, Binge and Purge. That, I mean, watching those
That's it.
videos, I spent
Yeah.
hours and hours and hours and hours
Oh,
and hours
yeah.
watching that. But and
Oh, yeah.
Airheads was the first movie I was allowed to go see by myself in the theater, like without my
That
parents.
movie is great, man.
And
It's my
I
second
headbanged.
one.
I did the like headbang gallop like this, you know, like
Oh my
like
gosh.
rocking out all the way home from the movie theater. I gallop headbanged all the way home from
My
the-
second favorite one is Detroit Rock City.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
That is
That
a
one
good
what's
one.
it?
funny.
Almost
as
Famous is a good
hell.
one.
Yep.
Almost Famous is good.
Oh yeah,
Yep.
Almost
Yep.
Famous is great.
Yep.
I mean that band they had in Almost Famous, it was like the music was
Sweetwater,
so
right?
cool. Yeah, Sweetwater.
Sweetwater.
That was
But
great.
it's kind of funny you bring up Pick a Destiny. Like we played a show a while ago where they wanted us to give them a, you know, some kind of narrative about our band, you know, before we played it.
Right.
And like my main idea, like my first idea was when the guy came up, you know, in like Jack Black's Dream, where he's like, "This is the best band ever," blah, blah, you know, whatever he said. Like I was going to just write that out and be like, "Here, say this
Here's our
about
intro.
us," you know? Yeah, and make that our intro for the guy to read. And hopefully he didn't read it beforehand to be like,
Right.
this is stupid.
That's crazy. But you know, another movie that I do like a lot is with oh my God, what's that dude's name? Have you seen Saving Sarah Marshall? Have you seen that?
Forgetting Sarah Marshall? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
What's that guy's name? I'm embarrassed. I can't remember his name off the top of my head. The English guy.
Dude from Muppets.
Get him to the Greek dude?
Yes, that's the movie.
Oh gosh.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
That's a great movie too.
The Fuzzy Wall.
Yeah. Just the whole like genre, like when he's
Wait.
trying to get him.
I have a bone to pick with that movie because that part of the in the previews for the movie, there's a part where he's like driving around in some little like go-kart or some little like big wheel looking thing. He goes, "I'm a motorist." I remember him saying, "I'm a motorist," and that was not in the movie.
Yeah,
It was only
there's a
in
lot of
previews.
outtakes from that movie.
Yeah,
It's very cool. But okay, so
Wait, are we
what
talking
are
about
your
Jason
future-
Segel? Is that the guy?
Yeah,
No, Russell Brand. Russell Brand.
Russell
is,
Brand.
Okay, all right.
Yes,
That's the guy.
yeah. He's a good actor. You know, he plays a great rock star. That guy.
I think he plays himself. I think that's just him, man. Like
Right.
but he's just a perfect fit for it. Yeah, for sure.
And let me
He's
tell you,
he's got the hair for it, you know?
That party that was in that suite, I've been to a few of those.
Oh yeah. Oh, speaking of party in the suite, the Motley Crue documentary, that was wild. That was,
There's a lot of wild stuff in that one.
oh man, yeah.
That's
No, there
crazy.
was-
Or the docu film or whatever you want, whatever.
Yeah.
the documentary.
The doc, yeah.
Documentary. Well, let's kind of wrap this up. So you guys are working on releasing singles, and Purge is the latest one. So
Correct.
what's the next step for you guys for 23?
Well, man.
We have one that we have. Actually, we've got a few that we have kind of almost wrapped up.
No, they're done. We got the finals back. They're done.
Mhm.
Yeah. So
We've got
We've
some
got-
stuff lined up.
Yeah, very good. That's
the
cool.
the one I'm most excited for, I'm not going to say the name. I'm just going to say the initials so the guys know what I'm talking about. It's SO. That one I am the most excited for.
I know. It's okay. So
Oh, yeah.
Purge is heavy, but this song is just so heavy, and I don't know. I think it's gonna be a good old Fanson foot stopper. Just a good old.
I can't wait. I can't
That-
wait.
That one song, we actually came up with this riff before Steven joined the band, and I feel like that is like one of the culminations of all of our influences literally just head on colliding. and it's gone through so many reworks to get it to where it is now that it's I'm so
It's
excited.
so cool.
So
See,
excited.
you're
We were
getting me
going to-
excited. I'm gonna be DMing you guys. Is it done yet? Is it done yet? When is it coming out?
Yeah, for sure. Do that. Keep us honest.
Please
'Cause,
do.
Yeah, no, we're looking
I
at,
think-
and so we're looking to release a video as well, or at least some sort of visual component with each single, because
Okay, that's important. Sure.
right. Yeah. So that's sort of the next phase, is getting all the visuals set up and everything like that, and then looking ahead. So now that we've got those finals back, we're literally right now in the process of writing new music in between booking shows, because we don't want to just
Right.
keep hammering the set and staying tight on that. We could take us set that down to plan B right now. Focus on just new material.
Okay, so the Pensacola area, like, what are some of the bands that are coming out of there?
Right
Right.
now
Oh, geez.
in this area, the ones that are super popular, Vagrants is a huge one. Vagrants does really, really well. Brave New World, it has been pretty big on the Gulf Coast. After Dusk. If you want to check out a dope ass band, After Dusk.
After
Okay.
Dusk. Yes.
Those-
Okay.
They are the sweetest
They're
dude.
fire.
Oh,
Yeah. Oh, so good.
Yeah.
so good. There's so many really good bands coming out of here. Like Exformation's a good one.
Yes.
Like death metal, Accursed Creator.
Wow.
That's what I was gonna say. Yep.
They just went through a lineup change, so they're actually restarting at the end of this year. I think on the 30th of December.
29th, 20 something. Yeah, maybe.
Wow.
So out of this small little area, those are the ones to definitely keep your eye on. Hop Out's a good one too. There's a lot, dude. There's like 50.
How far are you from Jacksonville?
About 5
Like 5 hours.
5.5 hours.
Oh, okay. Well, I know a great band. I'm sure you guys have heard of them, Divided Truth.
Heard of them. We haven't.
Yeah.
We just
That
we
one's
just
not
played a
familiar
show
to
in
me,
Jacksonville with Breaking Through, I want to say.
Okay.
Mhm.
Yep. It was a benefit for Nolan Neal, the contestant from America's Got Talent and The Voice.
No,
that
The
passed.
Voice.
The Voice.
Oh, yeah, I
Yeah.
heard about that.
I thought he was on.
And he
But-
played with Hinder. He was actually Hinder's singer for a while.
Oh,
Yep.
wow.
Yep.
Very
We-
cool.
Did a benefit out there in Jacksonville for them, and got to meet a lot of really cool people out there. It was a good
Yep.
time.
Yeah, I know so many bands like Midnight Devils. They do a lot of Florida gigs. Like I said, Divided Truth, Flaming the Red. If you guys haven't
Huh.
checked them out, they're from Alabama.
Okay.
They're an Alabama band. Amazing as well. There's so much great music coming out of your area.
There's a lot of little pockets. There are a lot of little
Yeah.
pockets.
I mean, it's great. I think 23 for you guys is going to be absolutely amazing. And like I said, Purge is awesome.
Thank you so much.
Why
Thank
don't
you.
why don't you tell the viewers where they can find your music at?
It's on every streaming service. It's on Spotify, Apple, all the streamers. Our Facebook page is a good spot, but our website, pardonthescars.com. And the cool thing about the website is the first thing you see is our upcoming show schedule. So if you're in the area and if you're wondering when we're playing, that's the best place to find the show. The show schedule is just to go to the website, and it's just pardonthescars.com. Facebook's Pardon the Scars, YouTube's Pardon the Scars. Like, click, subscribe, do all the things. Every share and every like helps. So yeah.
Oh yeah,
Thank you so much for
absolutely.
liking the song. Thank you so much for having us on, because it's just this is what it's all about. Instead of it just falling on deaf ears, your reach is only so far, and having people like you for bands to use your platform to help bands is super cool. So thank you.
Oh no, thank you guys for coming on. I'm going to definitely have you guys back on in the near future, so we can kind of catch up with you and see where things are at. I'm going to be traveling all over the country in 23 for various shows, so you might see me pop up. You never know.
Oh, that'd be really cool.
Yeah, keep in touch with my platform, because you'll hear information in the next few months. So
Okay.
I'll
Awesome.
be going to selected cities, and I'd love to catch a live show of yours at some point. So
be
I'm super
a lot of
excited
fun.
about that.
That's our favorite part of the gig. Is the
I
live
know.
show. That's what we.
Oh,
we
yeah.
live for.
I could
Oh,
do
yeah.
some live video for you guys. We could have a live interview. It would be
Absolutely.
great.
Yes, please.
So I want to say thank you to you guys. Thank you, Brian. Thank you, James. Thank you, Brian, number 2, for coming on. And
You're
I'm gonna
number
keep
2.
number 2. And I'm going to keep following you guys. I encourage all my viewers, all my followers to follow you on TikTok, because that's where I found you guys, was
Awesome.
on TikTok. So yeah, I mean, things I think for all of us are going to be blowing up in 23.
It feels good. There's definitely something in the wind.
Yeah,
You can
and
definitely
there's
feel it.
rock and roll is making a huge comeback in
It has.
23, and you'll be hearing more about that in future shows that I'm going to have. So let's stay in touch. I hope I get a free listen to that new song.
Okay.
Maybe.
You want to?
Because you know
see.
the Vegas rock goddess has got to hear the new material first.
Yes, if you promise to let us know what you think right after.
Absolutely.
Yes.
It'll
Like,
be
immediately
brutally
after.
honest
In an unofficial pre-song review.
Right. Absolutely. I would love to do that.
That'd be cool.
That would
It
be
definitely
great.
brings the heaviness back. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Very good, because you know I'm all about that. So that's great. Well, you guys have great holidays. Happy New Year. And we will see you again soon.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
That sounds
You as
good.
well.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you.
you. Wow, what a great bunch of guys. I see big things for Pardon the Scars in 23. So if you haven't heard about them, definitely go to spotify.com, go to their platform, pardonthescars.com, all social media platforms. Check them out on TikTok. They're really super cool guys. And I thank them for coming on the show. Thank you for sticking with me tonight. I know it was kind of glitchy in the beginning. So hopefully I'll get the technical part of this all smoothed out, and we'll be rolling perfectly next show. So I'll be talking about future shows in the next few weeks. Guest to look out for is going to be After Silence. We're going to have Jeffrey Carlson on the program. We're also going to be talking to Flaming the Red. I'm going to be getting back in touch with them to see, they've had a huge 22. So I'm super excited to catch up with them and see what's happening. Faith in Failure will be a future guest on the show. Eric Jacks, Wild Street. Definitely we're going to be reconnecting with him and seeing what he's doing. He's been doing some acoustic shows out in the California, LA area. So super excited for that. Future things going on with On the Rocks. I have a interview with Kieran Robertson and Alex Hart from the Jeff Tate Band I think next Saturday on the 10th. So I will be posting that in the near future once we get that wrapped up. Also, I have a big show coming up. I want to give a big push. I don't know if Logan and Roger Raskin are watching right now. I want to give them a big push for their warm-up shows for the 23, the big tour coming up for the Raskins. They're going to be playing the Whiskey on December 28th. They're opening up for Jack Russell's Great White. I will be attending that show. I cannot wait. This band is absolutely amazing. They're a great rock and roll band. They're all about the party. So if you guys are going to be in the LA area and you want to come party with the Vegas Rock Goddess, I will be there. So definitely come say hi. And yeah, there's a lot going on. I have a lot of stuff that I can't even talk about right now, that I will be revealing in future shows. So everybody have a great Sunday night. Thank you for tuning in. This is the Vegas Rock Goddess. You're watching On the Rocks Total Entertainment. See you next time.